hey, we have this new random number, right? So when I hit run, my background is tomato reddish, and then I've got this orange ellipse. So here's my code for the ellipse. X position, which would be this chunk right here, that's all orange. That's your X, that's your Y, your width and your height, right? 50-50, so that's a perfect circle. So the X position would be somewhere between 0 and 400. That's what that means. Random number between 0 and 400. So it would place it somewhere on here each time you run it. And the Y position would be 200, which would be 50, 100, 50, 200, right? So it's always going to be here somewhere. So let's hit reset, run it, and now it's over here, right? So it picked a number between 0 and 400, placed it there for the X position. Y position is always 200, and the size is 50-50. That's all that means. Okay, let's check it out. Alright, here's the same sun from last time. Right now only the X coordinate's random, but you can make the Y coordinates random too. So basically we have to change the Y. So let's go to our math. Drop in a random number here instead of that 200. And then we'll go 1 to 400. So now it's going to be anywhere on this board, right? Because the board is 0 to 400 and 0 to 400. Right, so it's going to be anywhere on the board. And this would be good for creating spawn points in a video game, right? Because you don't want the same guy to come out of the same spot every single time. Otherwise, it will make the game very easy. Alright, variables and random numbers. Variables can be assigned a random number too. This lets you have a single random value so you can use it many times. Alright. So I'm going to run it. And I've got my regular eyes. Right? They don't change. But they want us to put in a random number so that it changes every single time. So what we're going to do here is math. And we want our random number to be here, right? Because this is the name of the object is the eye size. So I'm going to grab my random number, drop it in here, and it's going to change from 1 to 10 each time. So let's check it out. Probably make it bigger, eh? There we go. Right, changes every time. And that's it. So every time this program is run, this part of the code, eye size, width and height changes. Alright. So we've got a flower here with little petals, a flower here with big petals. Use the two flowers in a single variable to store their petal size, but this value stored in the variable changes in the middle of the program. Run the program several times to see how it works. It doesn't seem to be changing. change the program so that the flowers have a random petal size. Okay. So here we go. Let's go ahead and grab some math. Oh. Grab some math. And drop it in here. Let's go 1 to 30. Or 1 to 50. 1 to 50. And let's drop some math in here. 1 to 50. Reset and run it. There we go. So it changes every time. Right, so we're just saying the petal size each time it's run is going to change somewhere between 1 and 50. That's all. Okay, modifying the planets. You've learned how to randomize things. It's time to put your knowledge into use. Make the scene more fun. Give the planets random sizes so they're always changing. Okay. Alright, so here we have our X and Y coordinates. Alright, our yellow ones here. So we need to add the randomness to make it random. So there's that. Math. Random number. I don't know, 1 to 40. Let's see what happens. Alright, it's tiny. There it's bigger. So there it is. So let's go ahead and do it to the next one. Random number. And let's make this one like, I don't know, 20 to 70? Alright, they're changing sizes, that's good. And then we'll get our next rando. Maybe make this one 40 to 90? Alright, cool. Random number. Let's make this one 1 to 120. Wrap these ones up. 50 to 90. And I'm just making up numbers here. I'm not doing anything specific. Let's go 40 to 130. Alright, so the size of these shapes change every single time. Right, so it's got the X coordinate, the Y coordinate, and then my random number, so it's going to be different size every single time. And that's it. Okay. Debug, random shape movement. Right now the program is, each rectangle has its own random position. Can you make it so the rectangles are always stacked on top of each other, but the entire stack is randomly positioned? Use the variable X position to draw the bottom of the two rectangles. Have the same X position as the top. Alright, so I think all we have to do is get rid of this random number and this random number and put in X position. I think I haven't done this in a while. So I'm just putting in X position right here and right here. So hopefully these all go together, right? Because it's going to be one random number chosen for the X position, and they're all going to stay the same. So let's check it out. Moment of truth. And there it is. All right. Okay, let's run this program. So these are showing up at different positions on the Y, right? Between 190 and 210. So they just want us to add more circles with different colors and make them random. So this is really a lot about the patterns. So let's grab a fill. What was the next color? Green. Alright, there's a green. And then we'll get our ellipse. Now check it out. Here's the pattern. 100, 140, 180. So it's going by 40. So this would be what? 220? 220. 50 50s. 50 and 50. And then our random number goes here instead of 200. So grab our math, drop in our random number, and 190 and 210, right? Because they're all going to be within this little area. So 190, 210, and hopefully we get something. There we go. Green. Now let's go blue. Ooh, you know what we can do? Let's go show text. And let's copy these. And then paste them here. And now we'll just change the yellow to blue. And then what was the other one? Purple. Purple. And now let's show our blocks. And we have to change these right because this is our pattern. Another 40 would be 260. And then 300. And again, the pattern is just going up by 40, right? 100, 140, 180, 220, 260, 300. These random numbers stay the same because you want them to be in the general same area. And then all the sizes, X, Y, are the same. Hit reset, run it. And there we go. Cool. Random RGB. Okay, we've learned how to randomize things, so let's put that knowledge to use. All the colors are set. Use both RGB and random to randomize the colors. Okay. So our background color is 5, 55, 255. So, and these RGBs, the R just means the amount of red, the G means the amount of green, and the B means the amount of blue. So I'm going to grab some math. And I'm going to get some random number in here. And I'll get some random number in here. and some random number in here. And I'll just change these to 200. So each of these is going to have a random number of between 1 and 200 for red, blue, and green. So this one should change every time. And it does. So now I'm going to do the same thing with these ones in here. Random number. 1 to 200. Random number. 1 to 200. Random number. 1 to 200. So I'm going to reset. And this is my fill color for this ellipse. But when we look at the code for this fill, number 2 and number 4 and number 5, 6, 8, 10, etc., it's all going to be random numbers, right? So we can just copy this code and replace all these other evens with that code. So I'm just going to go show text. Here's the code for my 2. And now I'm going to paste that code into 4 and 6 and 8 and 10 and 12 14 16. Alright, so now when I reset it, these should all change every time. And they do. So again, what I did here, I changed number 2, right, and I added random numbers for the RGB. So random numbers for red, random number for green, random number for blue. And then I got that code, copied it, and I pasted it for the other fill colors, so they all have random numbers now. So every time it changes. And that's it. Symmetry. Symmetry. Okay. You've learned to randomize things, but if you want to randomize two shapes that to be related in some way. So let's look at this code. Study how the red spots are drawn, line 23 and 24. Notice how subtraction is used. Okay, so we've got our ellipse, spot 1, X and Y. So that would be the first one, and then this second one has 400, and then it subtracts whatever random number comes from spot 1, right? So whatever number this comes up, so 400 minus whatever number that is, and that gives it the same symmetry. So let's go ahead and try this out. Here's our yellow one, spot 2, and I'm going to go to get my ellipse. And I'm going to get some math because we love math. we go 400 minus spot 2. And then we need to make sure these match up. 140, 140, 20, 20, 20, 20. So let's reset. Run it. And they're symmetrical. Still symmetrical. And it's all working. Cool. Randomize two shapes. Alright, so the tree top is changing, and so is the bottom every time. Okay, notice the variables width and leaves width. How are they different? Here, variable height is going to be a random number between 100 and 200. So that's going to change the trunk every time. Then we have our width here. It's going to be a random number between 10 and 100 every time. So the thickness is going to change every time. The height is going to change every time. And then we have our leaves. Leaves width are going to change every time, but they're going to be the same X and Y. And then their X is always going to be 200, so it's always going to stay in the same X position, but the height is going to be modified every time. Alright, so do we have to do anything? Oh. Okay, so this is where it goes wrong, right? Because the leaves are smaller than the trunk of the tree. So we have to edit the code so that the width of the leaves is always exactly double the width of the trunk. Okay. So our width, which is here, is going to be some number right between 10 and 100, and then the leaves width, we want it to be double whatever the trunk width is, right? Because we want it to be double. So we need to take the width number, which would be math. Let's get this out of here. We don't want this to be a random number. Get it out of here. We don't want that to be a random number. We want it to be double whatever random number this one is, right? So I'm going to grab my multiplication. And now I'm going to have my width. Right? So whatever number this is, and I'm going to have it multiplied by 2. Because right here it says it wants it to be double the width of the trunk. So whatever the tree trunk is, right, the width of the leaves is going to be double that. Hopefully. Yeah, see, it's the double the width, so it's going to match up every time, no matter how big or small. Cool. Random lines. Okay, make the scene more fun. You know how to randomize things like position, but don't forget about things like stroke and color. Have fun. Alright, so let's go ahead and randomize these with some random number. And we'll throw in a random number here. And I'm going to throw in here. Throw one in here. Throw one over here. Maybe throw something over here. Have it a random number there. Let's get crazy and put one right here. Now let's reset. Oh yeah, these are all over the place. Wait. We need more. Oh, you know what? We need to change this to something more exciting. There we go. Now it's looking wild. Alright, let's get some color in here. So, that would be stroke color, and then we want RGB, and then, so the stroke of this first line is going to be a random number, somewhere between 1 and 255. So that'll be our red, and then we'll do the same thing with green, 1 and 255, and then the same thing with blue, 1 and 285. Alright, reset and run. Alright, so they're changing every time, and because we have the stroke first for all of these, it stays the same. So let's go ahead and copy our code here, Control C, and now I'm going to add this stroke after every line. And hopefully, if things all work out, every single one of these will change. And they do. Cool. That's it. Random arcs. Okay, in this scene below are a bunch of arcs that all look alike. They're not very exciting. Make the scene more fun. You know how to randomize things like position and angle, but don't forget things like color, stroke weight. Have fun. Okay. Let's do it. So let's go ahead and start with our math. I'll throw in some random numbers. 1 to 200. And Another one. 1 to 200. Alright, so now we have our position on 1 getting kind of funky. So then we'll go add some more random stuff. 1 to 100. And I'm only choosing 100 because right here they goes to 100. Yeah, that's a crazy arc now. I like it. Okay. So here's my code for my arc. 1. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to just paste it here. And there, and there, and there. And then I'm going to get rid of these ones. We're set. And I've got a crazy arc collection now. Alright, so let's go ahead and add some delightful color in here. Fill color, RGB, and then we'll do our randoms. One to 255. 1 to 255. And 1 to 255. Okay, now when I run this, all our arcs should have the same color, and it should be some random color. And it is. That's good. So now let's go ahead and add this code after each arc so they show up in different colors. So I'm just going to copy this code and then add it in after. Oop, I messed up. If you mess up, you can hit Control Z and it'll go back. So remember, Control Z is good. Alright, we're set. There we go. Different arcs, different colors. We could do stroke if you want. Okay, let's go. Blocks. Stroke. RGB. And then we'll go to random. 1 to 255. 1 to 255. 1 to 255. And then we'll add stroke weight, so they're different thickness. Stroke weight. And then random number. 1 to 10. Okay. There we go. Different stroke weights. And if we wanted to, we can get even crazier and copy our codes for our stroke and add them after every arc. And this is just outrageous. There's really no need to go this far, but here we are. Yeah, so it's all over the place now. Alright, that is for seriously, for real done.